America now has a sick society of young people because we're not taking care of teaching them the basic fundamentals of good nutrition and exercise.
My team's saying, am I going to bring the action? I'm going to bring everything I have to this because you don't even understand. 4 decades ago, 40 years ago, I met this man and he influenced me so much by what he was doing. And to me, he's the greatest bodybuilder ever to walk on stage. Lee Haney, the Mr. Olympia. He's not even just the best bodybuilder, he's the best Mr. Olympia to me. He's the best role model to me. He is tremendous. What's cool is I met him 40 years ago when I first started competing, and then I get to interview him now. And to me, it's pretty darn cool. Sorry, I'm nervous, man. This guy, he means so much to me because I set my life up at that stage 40 years ago. I'm mimicking a lot of the stuff he was doing. So this is a huge opportunity for me and an honor. And to know that he knows me and respects my career at this stage is tremendous. So I am so proud to be able to do this and bring you guys the legend, my hero, Lee Haney. Can I say you're looking sharp? And I mean,
I'm trying, Mike. You know, we got to stay on top of this as we start to mature in years. You know what I'm saying?
I got a term. I'm wondering if you agree with this. Minimize the decline.
I like that. That falls right in line with one of my terms I use called age management.
Yeah, I love that and that's what I wanted. I'm sitting there going, I'm one of these guys that's Lee Haney, Barry DeMay, Rich Gaspari. And I don't know if we'll go into when Rich was living with you. He told me some great stories. And he told me one story, and I'll just kind of give you a little hint to this if we go into this later. But he gave me a story about you demanded the respect, and you did it in a very nice way. But you go, it's a respect. This location, this place here, and we may go into that later because I just like the old school respect. I grew up in a martial arts kind of family. And so I learned early to walk behind the individual. I learned to respect and look the person in the eyes when you shake their hand. Yeah. Not this kind of handshake like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
It's those little details that I learned. And I picked that up from you on how you carry yourself at appearances, discussions, casual conversations, that you were raised right, I guess you would say, or at least my take, you were raised right and good parents and good family.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference, Mike. And what you were saying, in your background coming from martial arts, that's a huge demand there with the sensei. You got to respect and walk it on in integrity. But as you were saying, that's something that I sort of size a guy up when, talking to him. If his eyes are wandering or he's looking off in other directions, that's like a level of disrespect, or sometimes it's a level of just not being focused. And that's something that we see quite a bit of. I recently was at Madhouse Gym. You're familiar with Madhouse here in Mapleton, Georgia?
Yeah.
I mean, it's mad too. I mean, equipment everywhere. But anyway, I was doing an interview with a young man. He was 18. He's going to be entering the Lee Haney Games, the 2022 Lee Haney Games coming up November the 12th. And so I'm talking to him. And
which I will be at.
Oh, yeah. So you come in, Mike. Great.
I'm there.
Great.
Me and the whole Titan crew is there.
About that. Thank you. So anyway, I'm talking to this young man. And as I'm talking to him, all of a sudden his eyes start to wander around in the room. I say, hey. I said, look here at me. Don't look around the room. I'm talking to you. That's a level of respect. I mean, if I'm here giving you my time and information as an 8-time Mr. Olympia, you better pay attention. Anyway, I jacked him up as he was standing with his uncle. His uncle said, tell him, Lee. Of course, his uncle was around my age. So, you have to sort of, in a nice, positive way, sort of bring that to people's attention. When I'm meeting even young boys, because I got a mentoring program, I make sure that they look the person straight in the eye, and that's a big thing with me.
You said something during that stage because you are the 8-time greatest. And you said, hey, if I'm going to give my time to you, you should do that. I wish we didn't even have to say I'm the 8-time greatest. I wish it would just be like, I'm an individual across from you talking to you. Yeah. Give me some respect and listen to me, or say you don't want it. But I wish it was just a more common thing, that just that respect of.
Yeah.
I'm around so many of the 70s and 80s guys at Goals. And these guys are older, obviously, and I get a kick out of talking to them because I'm a 14-year-old boy again. It's instant. And I'm like, oh, so tell me about this, tell me about that. And I'm just so focused on it. And like the kids I'm training with are like, yeah, but that's the guy over there's a IFBB pro right now and stuff. And I'm like, I don't care. There's so much knowledge in this individual that was here in the 70s and 80s, 90s, 2000. It's like, I want to learn from that.
Right. And so, that was powerful for me coming up. I never will forget walking to World's Gym, Gold's Gym, my first trip to California. And I'm seeing people like Albert Beckles and Robbie and Arnold and Frank Zane. I mean, the guys that I grew up watching in the magazines. And there I was, a youngster within their presence. And man, it was like I knew them before I actually met them, because I had read everything I could get my hands on concerning each of these iconic legends. And it meant so much to me. I looked at their workout plans, their eating regimens, and the care of developing a finished and polished physique. So it was a tool of inspiration and a sort of a how-to for me to arrive to where I did as 8-time Mr. Olympia.
I love that you say that, because it's so similar to me. And I don't know if it's because of our times and that we've lived in this, but like my training partner is Robbie Robinson,
Yes.
And I first trained when I got to California at 1920 was Tom Plaz. And so when I got there, I'm like, these are the guys that I grew up with, and now I'm training with them. Yeah. And I'm still training with Robbie now. And I'm like, it's such, like you said, we knew them before we met them.
Yes.
And they didn't let us down. Albert Beckel, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
When I lived there in California, I lived in the San Fernando Valley, me and my wife, Shirley, and there was a Gold's Gym in the off Reseda Boulevard in the Valley. And Albert would train there, and we would see a lot of different guys there, but particularly Albert. I had the honor of befriending him, and man, we went out to dinner almost every week, if not every other week, and just watching Albert's habits, watching him eat, and his friendship, it just did so much for me as a younger bodybuilder. I love Albert Beckles dearly. And the one thing that I admire so much about Albert, and which I tried to pattern myself after, I never saw Albert out of shape. He was always eating. I saw him do fish and rice and vegetables. I never saw Albert do anything other than those things which was going to keep him, within striking distance of being contest ready. He was a law of discipline.
I 100% agree with you on that aspect, but I went somewhere while you were saying that, because I could see you picturing him at dinner as you're telling me this story, and the friendship. And even though I saw Pumping Iron 2, and Mike Christian and everything. For me, when I always talk about the 80s and 90s, I always talk about that we would talk smack, but it's to get them Because we wanted the best out of the other guy that we're competing against. We weren't talking smack to bring him down. We want your very best. Show me your best, because if I'm going to win, I want to beat the best you. And it brought a friendship and everything, and it took everybody's level of lifting up a notch.
Yeah.
I felt.
Yeah, it did. It happened in that way. And, it's amazing. Like me and Mike Christian, we would fight it out in the gym all the time. I mean, you see some recordings, Mike, oh, I'm coming for you, I'm coming. I said, Mike, you don't want none of this. You just think you want some of this. And man, but, Mike was my babysitter when I first moved to California. I didn't know how to ride the bus. I didn't know where to go grocery shopping. I knew nothing. And matter of fact, I stayed at the hotel that Mike was sort of the security head of when I first got there. And man, he took real good care of me and my wife. And there we are in the gym, messing with each other, but at the same time, loving each other.
Yeah.
Learning from each other, that camaraderie was just so special. And it still lasts until today. I still love Mike. We still in touch with each other. Rich, just the whole team of guys. I mean, Leela Brother, I love these guys, although I picked with them on the street.
So my question is, you and I started very young, 9, 10 years old, and it seemed to help me in a lifetime. What did it do for you, besides winning the Miss Teenage America and competing against men as still a teenager and doing these things? Did it set you up for life to win? And can you give me some insight on what parents should do with their kids in training?
Okay. Well, you know what, Mike? It's very important. And always, when I'm speaking, I do a lot of public speaking, particularly in men's share group. I just did one this last Saturday. And I let them know of the importance of listening and watching your kids. They can tell you what they want to be or what they want to do if you just follow them and watch what they're doing. I mean, I have a tendency when I was a youngster trying to pick up things. Tell you what I did. At the age of 6 years old, my brother and I were hanging out in the in the yard, and I had this tendency of trying to pick up stuff. So anyway, he's 3.5 years older than me, big. I mean, I'm 5'11". My brother was 6'4", so he's always been bigger than me. So anyway, Dad has a baby blue Fairlane Ford. I'm 6 years old. I'm thinking I'm Hercules and Samson at age 6. I pick up a boulder and thinking I could throw it over the car. I thought I was strong enough as Hercules and Samson to toss that boulder over the car. My brother looked at me and said, "You better not do it." And then, of course, I didn't listen to him. Man, I took 3 steps forward, 3 steps backwards, 3 steps forward, and lunged it through the air, and boom! It landed in the back glass of my dad's Fairlane Ford. Oh man, he came out of the house and said, "Who did it?" Hey man, look, I had to confess. I lied. I said, "He did." I said, "I'm gonna let my daddy kill me, man." My dad was big neck, big shoulders, big chest, small waist. He looked like me. And my brother looked like he was strong enough to lift up that boulder, but I didn't. I was a little bitty guy with little skinny arms. And my dad looked at me and looked at my brother, and all of a sudden, him and my brother took off running down the woods. But getting back to that, my dad later figured out when he started taking me to bodybuilding competitions and got bigger and muscles and everything started growing, he knew it had to be me at that point because, it was in me, even as a youngster, is trying to throw those bowls over the car. So if parents watch their kids, just look at their mannerism, what they love to do if they piddle a lot, be it a little girl or a little boy, it's in them. So one of the mistakes that parents make is trying to mold them in the way that we think they should go. No, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a dentist. Wait a minute. This little guy, every time you turn around, he's putting stuff together. He's either building Legos, guess what? An engineer or architect, or he's drawing something. So why are you trying to make him become a doctor? That's not who he is. So, and a lot of times I watch people grow up and be miserable in professions that their parents pushed them into. So you have to watch, listen, and pray as it relates to your kids and bringing them up in the way that they should go. My parents listened to me. I actually a set of weights for Christmas when I was 10 years old, and they listened. They got me a set of weights. And guess what? I helped my dad get his first tractor trailer truck. My mom now, she's a widower. Her mom and Shirley mom, I got them in a beautiful duplex. All they do is plant flowers. They listened to me as a young boy. So that young boy was able to provide health and wellness to them as they grew old and beyond just me taking care of my own family. But that's just listening to your kids. It'll be amazed as to how they'll turn out and they'll be happy people because money's not everything. Most people look at money. Well, they'll make $400 million doing that or whatever. If you made $50,000 and you're happy, then you're going to have a longer, healthier life. Yeah. If you make $100,000 and you're miserable, then you won't live long.
I got one last question, and I got to get you back on the show because I have so much to ask. I could do every week with you technically, but I do have one more question for today, and that is, did health and fitness and understanding, or not just being taught about nutrition, but discovering nutrition best for you, has that helped you live a long, not just a long life? Because I don't look at you as one of these guys going, I have longevity, and longevity is that time. It's the quality of life that you have that's impressive. And I wish more people would say, yeah, I want to live till 100. Okay, but if you're in a wheelchair and on a couch, fat, overweight at 25, that's not really living life. So did weightlifting and eating right help you to be productive and live a longer, healthier life than the guys that are competing? We're losing these guys so much younger and younger now. But just to your fact about your life.
Yeah, Mike, that's very important that you ask that because I've always said, as I'm speaking to people in conferences, I do a lot of age management seminars. One of my books is called Fit at Any Age. Fit at Any Age. I talk about functional nutrition, functional training to help manage age. And age management, it should start from day one, from children all the way through adulthood to seniorhood. So
why day one? Why can't you start it at 60?
Exactly. Now, age management, it can start at 60, 64. But the fact of the matter is, if you tore yourself up for the first 40, 50 years, your body didn't forget it. Time is unforgiving. You can do your best going forward. That's why we have to emphasize health, fitness at an early age with our kids, with our youth, and so forth, because America now has a sick society of young people because we're not taking care of teaching them the basic fundamentals of good nutrition and exercise. As past chairman to the President's Council, man, we looked at statistics showing that, this new generation, and I'm saying that now, they're not living past 50 years old because of fast foods, because of not taking ownership of their health. They're dying prematurely. So one of the things I always emphasize to people is that your health is your wealth. One of the things that the Dalai Lama said, and I just hopefully is a true statement from him. It's true whether he said it or not. That man, one of the things he said that surprises him most about man is that he spent his entire life trying to attain wealth, only to lose his wealth trying to get his health back.
I said that this morning. I cannot believe you said the same thing I said to Mona this morning. It's crazy.
Why are you so pretty, Mike?
I said this. I was like, they work so hard to make the money, and then they get to my age or your age or just around this time, and they go, I'm going to spend all that money trying to get time and health. And it's like, Start young.
It's pretty simple. You know, I had a gentleman ask me because I train athletes. I still train some athletes, but mostly I work with a lot of CEOs. But this young man said to me, it was something as it relates to, okay, how did I structure the nutritional percentages? 10% fat, 30% protein, 60% carbohydrate. And of course, those could fluctuate depending upon the body type of the person and where they presently are. Most mesomorphic, which you're mesomorphic, I'm mesomorphic, we have a natural fast metabolism, and we become leaner at a shorter period of time. Matter of fact, a lot of time we have to eat up for a competition instead of eating down, which is a blessing. We don't have to live off of green beans and tuna fish. So
He said green beans. That's old school. I love it.
yeah, man. So the whole deal is, if you don't flex it, if you can't flex it, don't carry it. So I was trying to get him to understand the importance of understanding nutrition and clean eating. And clean eating doesn't mean you don't have to eat. You just have to have enough knowledge to what's clean and what's dirty. Listen, sweet potatoes are always going to be cleaner than French fries. Baked chicken is always going to be cleaner than fried chicken. And so it's.
The fried chicken tastes good. Most of you get in the South.
It's just about learning how to eat. Because as I trained for the Miss Olympia, I was never on a miserable diet. I had to train up, which was great. Listen, I love sweet potato. High in beta carotene, high in fiber. It's an antibiotic type of it's one of these type of vegetables that help promote growth throughout the entire body. So it's great for those things. Chicken, particularly fish, it digests easy. I was never a beef person. It takes steak over 48 hours to digest. And there's a lot of guys are finding out, and you witnessed it too, Mike, is that a lot of us are sick from heart disease. Well, my ticker is perfect. My arteries is nice and clean by way of my blood work, because I've never used that steak in my preparation all season or on. I've stayed with chicken, fish, eggs, and I've used spinach, I've used pineapple, I've used sweet potatoes to keep my arteries nice and healthy. So bringing kids up in the way that they should go and managing age should begin with good nutrition. And managing age doesn't mean just as you grow older. It means even when you're in the bodybuilding level of just getting started to intermediate to advanced bodybuilding. One of my phases has always been trained to stimulate, not annihilate. I've bench pressed.
I use your quote a lot.
Yeah, I bench pressed 500 pounds one time, Mike. Just messing around, just want to see if I can do it. And I did it pretty easy. But I also knew that if I would rip my pec, that was been the end of it.
Yeah.
It didn't take a 500-pound bench to develop my chest. Because I understand when you're doing ballistic training, let's say on the bench press, you come down, you almost like a plyo type of movement. You stimulate fast twitch fiber just by way of the movement. You come down, control, and you back up. Does it take 1,000,000 pounds? I brought Evander for 192 pounds up to 214 pounds in 6 weeks by using that type of training. And he never went past 180 pounds on the bench press. But his was just stimulating fast twitch fiber. He became explosive. He put on muscle size, and he knocked Buster Douglas out. Then we beat Riddick Bowe. I have this huge 15-diamond ring to prove that as one of the team members. But
and you made him look like a freaking bodybuilder in the ring. Those shoulders and traps on Holyfield. Oh, beautiful. He walks out and you're just like, wow. Okay, I want to
science of training. You can take the body anywhere you want it. That's why
I know the viewers.
The International Association of Fitness Science, I pride myself on that, because I know how to get the best out of the body, how to feed the body, and how to do correct training without tearing the body up. Which is the reason why here I am at the age of 62. I have no knee problems, no hip problems, no back problems, no shoulder problems. I don't have any of that. because of being smart about training. Stimulate, not annihilate.
So I know the fans are watching and they're like, I want to learn about nutrition. I want to learn about training philosophies. I want to rest, recover. What are the best foods? And we will get that. I'm gonna bug you to get you on down the road when you have time to talk about the fundamentals of training. But I hope that people watching this today understand. You're talking and you're looking at one of the greatest that's ever stepped on stage, who by living his dream motivated me to do it. And I think the little key things that we talked about today, the mindset, how to interact, I think those are so much bigger than the nutrition and training to me, because we're talking about life, and the competitions are just for a short period of time, but we're talking life and loving life and trying to be a good person and trying to do your dream and raise a family and be the best human you can. I think today's talk, even if it didn't satisfy the fitness buffs, I hope they understand what we're talking about is the real stuff, the real grit behind why you are who you are. And, you know, a lot of guys dieted, a lot of guys trained, but there's only one Lee Haney. And it's an amazing thing to see. And props to you, because I was with Arnold and he was talking about you, and I told him that I'm gonna sit down with you, and he says one of the best humans he's ever met. So yeah,
That's my compliment, you know. That's
legends, man. I hope the fans today enjoyed this time. I will get you back on to talk about the fundamentals of nutrition, training, your best foods, and what you saw other people doing. And we'll talk about Rich Gaspari staying with you, where you were both dieting. So we got to go into all that at another time. And I will definitely see you at your games. And we'll put all the links down so you guys can get his book. Follow him on Instagram, all social media, and about his projects he's working on helping communities and kids and humans.
Thank you so much
for your time.
Really appreciate all that you do for the entire world of bodybuilding. Man, I was telling my wife, hey, I'm going to be on with Mike today. I said he's that pretty guy, you know. He said, oh yes, I know him. You know, for sure is a big Michael Hearn fan, and I appreciate everything that you do for the entire bodybuilding world. It's a real honor to have been on with you, man. God bless you and your beautiful family, and that beautiful little man that you bring it up. He's gonna be a world changer, just like his dad, you know.
Yeah, I one real quick thing, and we want to go on this next time, but I'm going to take you back to the childhood of how you grew up with the outhouse and all this stuff, because my baby mama grew up in Romania during the Communist Party and the Civil War, and the way she grew up was very hard, and it made such a strong individual coming to America at such a young age and living in New York, not speaking the language. But I want to talk about that because I think that's something I've seen with a lot of people that grew up very humble beginnings, beyond humble beginnings, and became such powerful, strong individuals that helped the world. So that's next time, though. I don't want to hold you up anymore. My man. Love you, brother.
God bless you, Mike.
What do I say? I don't think I need to say much. He said it all. He's lived a lifetime of health and fitness. And that was just like the root of it. You know what I mean? The foundation of it is the lifting. And I wish you guys would understand this. And a lot of us that have done this journey keep trying to tell you that's foundation work. The training's foundation. The nutrition is foundation. But what it does is so much more than create a body. So much more. It's, again, like Mona always says, like Lee Haney, all these guys that I interview that are at that elite level all come back to the same thing. It's the mindset. It comes down to not how strong your body is. How strong is the will, your mindset. That's it. You guys, you picked it up right there. He crushes it like always, and that's why he's, to me again, even more so now the GOAT to me, because I have so much respect of how he's lived his life in, outside of the gym, community, helping people. I can go on forever. You just watched I got tingles knowing that I got to do this today. That's it. Have a great day. Generation Iron, thank you so much. Subscribe to this, and I'll see you guys next week.